Well, dating is hard, marriage harder. Our next guest, Dr. Galena Rhoades, has written the book on avoiding divorce. It is called Fighting for Your Marriage. Thank you so much for joining us. I love the title because that is absolutely something that I want to remind myself of.
I'm really glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, the perfect timing on your appearance today because we want to talk about Love is Blind in a moment, but we do want to talk about your book because it's such an important topic. You write about the ground rules for a great relationship. What would you say those are?
So we write about 3 keys for success in relationships. One is decide, don't slide. Don't get yourself stuck into arguments or circumstances or relationships that you didn't intend to be in. The next one is make it safe to connect. We can all do more to make our relationships a really safe, comfortable, healthy place where we feel supported and communicate well together. And the last one is do your part. Relationships take work at every stage and every step. And we have to remember that, to put in that work and do what's under our own control to make them better.
That's so well said. And if you could give one piece of advice to couples watching today to help improve their communication, because we all know that communication is so vital in a relationship, what would that tip be?
I think it is one word: listen. And I think that really is the key to good communication. And when conversations get heated, we tend to stop listening to one another and preparing our own remarks, right? So if we can slow down and listen and even try to say back what we hear the other person saying.
Ooh, active listening.
Active listening, exactly.
I've learned through therapy.
That's right. As therapists love active listening.
I do too, actually. It helps.
Yeah, and not just a buzzword. Like, it really is something that can make a difference in a conversation. So let's talk Love is Blind, shall we? One of the most notable relationships on this show right now is between Madison and Joe. They get engaged in the pods, but when they meet in person, he's very obviously hesitant. I mean, just tell it like it is. She's not his type. I don't think she's attracted. He's attracted to her physically.
He says
He
it.
tells her, you're not my usual type. He tells the producers he usually goes for, quote, thinner girls. We saw some of Madison's reaction on the show, but today, Glamour magazine reports that Madison struggled with disordered eating in the days after she left the pods. In an interview, she called Joe's remarks about her weight diabolical, but she also says that there were some good moments that we did not see on camera that caused her to stay. So, Dr. Rhoades, we want your opinion. How do you tell men and women to approach red flags like these?
Good question.
When you see it happening in front of you, what do you do about it?
Well, I think one of the things that's kind of interesting about the show is that things happen a little bit out of order, right? And there's something I like about that in that people get a chance to get to know one another without kind of the noise of trying to suss out the physical chemistry. But on the other hand, then they make a really fast commitment, right, before actually getting to know one another or observe one another in different settings. And so I think part of what is out of order is that they didn't learn red flags until after they had made a commitment to one another. And so I think one way to avoid that is to be sure, going back to decide, don't slide, that you're really making choices along the way and recognizing that commitment means giving up other choices. You're making a choice to give up other options when you make a commitment. And so I think in those red flags, we can prevent that by taking things in some ways a little more slowly and making sure you really get to see your partner, which you don't get to do in Love is Blind,
Right.
but see your partner in many different circumstances and really get a chance to know them before making a commitment.
So can I ask a follow-up on this? Because when you see the situation, my brain is like, girl, if you don't walk away from that man from the jump, but is that healthy too? Because my response is like, you're not going to
Bye.
Exactly.
I think it is in this case, right? When you've been put down in that way as she was, I think that's a pretty big red flag. This is not a relationship that's safe to connect in, right? You don't have that kind of emotional safety to be yourself, and she got that indicator really early on.
Yeah, no, and I think the viewers see it, it's very obvious to us. And speaking of fast track and the fact that this show, like, you don't get the time to really slow down, talk to us about, now they're going to be moving in together. Okay, so have you seen that there's a connection between like marriage, the quality of your marriage, and like waiting to move in? Like, does that even apply?
Yeah, here's what's interesting. Our work at University of Denver shows that people who move in together before they are engaged, before they've made that commitment, have a higher risk for divorce later on. And I think it's related to that idea that if you get yourself stuck in something, if you make too many commitments, then it's hard to undo something, right? Even if you learn while you're living together that you're not the best match, you're pretty far down the road in already making that relationship a marriage.
That makes sense because you have to separate all the thing, and then in Denver specifically, where it's so expensive
That's
to
right.
find a place to live, it's like ooh. Okay, here's a question for you. Do you think it's even possible to find, and not just specifically on Love is Blind, because dating shows are all the rage, is it possible to find like real love on a television show with lights and cameras?
And producers whispering in your
Good
ear.
point.
I do.
Oh,
I think
Color us surprised. Okay.
I think people go into those shows similar to how people go into dating apps or certain dating apps, right? That they have something they're looking for, right? And so they're meeting people who are fairly aligned in what their long-term goals are, right? Things can get a little mixed up behind the cameras, and we might not see all of it. But I do think that, you know, as people go into a show or dating apps with those kinds of intentions, I think that they will find love.
oh, I love that.
I
That's
know.
optimism.
I was like, this is the last season I'm ever watching, but you've just given me hope, and now I continue to watch Love is Blind.
That's right. Oh my goodness. So Dr. Galena Rhoades, thank you so much. I want our viewers to know where they can buy your book.
Amazon.com
Woo,
or
okay.
fightingforyourmarriage.com.
Okay, or fightingforyourmarriage.com. Thank you, Dr. Rhoades. Appreciate you.
Thank you.